Kenji sat quietly, reflecting on his acts of devotion and dedication. He had spent countless hours helping others, giving his time and energy, but lately, he felt disappointed. Why does it feel like my devotion isn't appreciated? He wondered. I give so much, but nothing seems to come back to me in return. Seeking understanding, Kenji went to the Zen master and asked, "Master, why do I feel let down when I give so much? Why does my devotion not bring me the peace I expected?" The Zen master smiled kindly and said, "Kenji, let me tell you a story about a woman named Aiko. Aiko was a woman known for her acts of kindness. She spent her days serving her village, cooking meals for the elderly, helping those in need, and giving away her time without hesitation. But as the years passed, Aiko started to feel that her efforts were unnoticed and unappreciated. She began to wonder, why do I give so much if no one seems to care? One day, a wise monk visiting the village noticed Aiko's distress and asked, "Why do you look troubled, Aiko?" Aiko sighed, "I have spent my life giving to others, but it feels like my devotion has been in vain. No one seems to appreciate my efforts. I thought that by serving others, I would feel a sense of fulfillment, but instead, I feel empty." The monk smiled and said, "Aiko, your devotion has been driven by expectation. You have given with the hope of receiving something in return, whether it's gratitude, appreciation, or even inner peace. But true devotion is not a transaction. It is given freely, without expectation of reward. When you give from a place of selflessness, you will find that the fulfillment you seek is already within you." Aiko listened carefully, realizing that she had been seeking something in return for her acts of kindness. Her devotion had been tied to her desire for recognition and fulfillment. She understood then that true devotion was about giving without expecting anything in return, offering her heart and effort freely, without attachment to the outcome. The monk continued, "When you let go of expectations, your heart opens to a deeper sense of joy. The reward of devotion is not in what you receive, but in the act of giving itself. Kenji, like Aiko, your disappointment comes from attaching expectations to your acts of devotion. True devotion is selfless, it is given freely, without the need for recognition or reward. The joy of devotion comes from the act itself, not from what it brings in return." Kenji sat quietly, understanding now that his devotion had been tied to his desire for appreciation. He realized that to find true peace in his devotion, he needed to let go of his expectations. "But Master," Kenji asked, "how do I give without expecting anything in return when it feels natural to want something back?" The Zen master smiled softly. "You learn to give selflessly by focusing on the act of devotion itself. When your heart is fully present in your giving, without looking for anything in return, you will discover a joy that comes from the act of giving itself. The greatest reward is not what you receive from others, it is the peace and contentment you find within yourself when you give from a place of pure love." Kenji felt a sense of relief and understanding wash over him. He realized that his devotion could bring him peace if he simply gave without the need for anything in return. Kenji, devotion is an act of love, not a transaction. When you give with expectations, you bind yourself to disappointment. But when you give freely, without attachment to the outcome, you open yourself to a deeper joy. The peace you seek is not found in what you receive, but in the act of giving itself. Have you ever given your time or effort, like Kenji, and felt disappointed when it didn't lead to what you hoped for? How did you learn to let go of expectations and give freely? Share your experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear how selfless devotion has brought you peace. Remember, true devotion comes from giving without expecting anything in return. If this story helped you reflect on the power of selfless giving, like this video and subscribe for more wisdom-filled stories. And share this story with someone who may be struggling with expectations in their acts of devotion. In this story, we learn that true devotion is not about what we receive in return, but about the act of giving itself. When we attach expectations to our devotion, whether it's appreciation, recognition, or inner peace, we set ourselves up for disappointment. But when we give freely, without the need for reward, we discover a deeper sense of joy and peace. The fulfillment we seek comes from the love and effort we put into the act of giving, not from what we receive in return.